Hello and welcome to the Rabbit Hedgehog channel, and we are going to be taking out one of our used motorcycles from Indian Motorcycle of Oklahoma City, and the wildest thing ever, another 2022 model. Seems like everything's a 2022 model these days, but this is the 2022 Suzuki GSX-S GT. 999cc four-cylinder engine, the K5 engine, the legendary previous generations Gixxer engine, known for reliability, amazing power, and all the good stuff. But this time, instead of it being a fully naked motorcycle, this one is actually more of a sport tourer with these nice little locking saddlebags and everything. They are a clamshell design. Front end's pretty cool and everything. Take a look at the bags here. Got to put the key in there, pop that open. Like I said, you'll see a little clamshell design here. Little holder there. Not the deepest, that's my hand there. Of course, hands don't tell you the whole story. But extra large glove hand. And you know, it's about the width of that. So you can get some pretty decent stuff in there. The nice thing is that you can unlock these saddlebags from the side here. As you can see, you can pull that, and then therefore you can detach them quickly and carry them because they got the storage handles on there. Same with this bag as well. But really cool freaking bike. This is the GT Plus version too, so what you're looking at is massive Brembo brakes on the front, twin discs. You also have inverted forks as well. We are chain driven on this bike, to be expected for this kind of motorcycle. It does have a quick shifter on board as well. Nice LED lighting all the way around it. Massive TFT screen on the dash here. You also have an outlet right here as well for USB power. That's kind of nifty to have on here. Go ahead and turn this on. You can see that traction control ABS has the oil light there, neutral, of course, service engine, all that good stuff. Trip computers. At the very top of it, it has shift lights on board as well. We're going to go through and talk about some of the things on the screen here, and as well as the controls after we get on the motorcycle here. Alrighty. So you'll notice that the mirrors, some people don't like that, are very far away from you. You have to lean way forward to reach over, grab them, and manipulate them to get them to where you want them. Some people may not like that. I don't mind it because this is one of those bikes that once you get everything set, you're set up for touring, you're set up to go. Should not have to bother those mirrors anymore after that. On the left side, you have a very large digital tachometer, your speedometer, your fuel. Over on the right side is kind of a status of the bike. Up at the top is your power modes, your A, B, C mode. Over in the left-hand side here that says 1TC, I have traction control in 1. And then on the other side is on for the quick shifter. This is accessible through this over here on the left side. You press the down arrow there and it will take you around to each of the ones that you're looking at. If you go ahead and click on the button over here, the 4-way, that's where you can change the modes and everything. A being the most amount of power available, C being the least. Go ahead and hit that. Go back to traction control, go back there, and you're good to go. You can reset your trip odometer as well, and you can also scroll through it so you have your trip 1, your miles per gallon, air temperature, engine temperature, all that's down there. Your main odometer, battery voltage, which we are a little low, so I better get this thing started up here real quick. There we go. Miles to empty. Average speed, time, all that down here. So kind of a lot of trip computer information that you have on this bike. On the right hand side, you have a cruise control activate switch. You'll get a nice big green thing right here. Here's your set and resume button over here. You also have a hazards light, your engine cutoff switch is all the way down to a starter. You also have your flash to pass plus your brights on the back side. Like I said, your menu access button right here with your 4-way, your turn signals, and horn. Ignition right in the front, traditional handlebar, not a clip-on, so you have a riser and clamp, probably about an inch or two on the riser there. So it goes up in there. Fully adjustable shocks for preload, rebound, and compression. All is there on this motorcycle. So again, quick shifter is online. All that is online. We're going to go for it here in just a moment while I'm riding home. But before we take off on the ride, I do want to thank my sponsors. I want to thank Law Tigers of Oklahoma. They're out there serving the community right now, but in the event that something goes wrong, give them a call, and that way they can help you with the insurance company or whatever may have happened with motorcycle need or law. Call them, ask them, they'll be able to help out or guide you or whatever needs to happen. Also want to thank Doug Crawford and also his USA Synthetics, which is AMS oil distribution here in Oklahoma. Small businessman that supplies us with our oils and everything. So he comes around the dealerships, all that stuff. Also supplies our engines to keep them safe and sound. Also, I want to thank AGVSportUSA for supplying us with our safety gear that you see us riding with. I know my gloves are a little different today, but I was not quite expecting to take off on a motorcycle today, but it kind of just fell into my lap, so I was going to steal it. Alrighty. So we'll talk about the friction zone here. It's actually a very fast friction zone. You get to about 2 if you start with 1 being the all the way in basically, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5 all the way out. It's about a 2 where this thing catches pretty quickly. So, and it's pretty bitey on the clutch as well. The one thing about the GSX series is it's always been tamer compared to the GSX series because it is designed to be more of a sport tourer and or a sport naked style of motorcycle. So it's not supposed to be the fastest and craziest. So like I said, they use the K5 engine, a very legendary engine nonetheless, very powerful engine. This thing, I've already taken it out a little bit, you know, before taking it out right now. And I know where it responds, how it responds, and some other things. So I've gotten a little bit used to it before I took off on it today. Now, when it comes to all the specifications, I will try to find everything I can on it, like power and all that good stuff, and put that down in the description below. And that way you guys can have that. Now, I will say that there's something I do like about the K5 engine is it's not so refined that it is absolutely just 100% buttery smooth. While we are sitting here at an idle, you can feel the vibrations of the engine through the handlebars, and you can see a little bit of jitter in the mirrors and everything like that. So it's got a nice raspy kind of sound to it. As you can see there, the power is totally fine. Second gear is already highway speed, and even then, second gear at highway speeds just under 7,000 RPMs. The quick shifter on this motorcycle is actually amazing. I generally do not like quick shifters because they have a little bit of a stall or a thunk whenever you go into gear. This one does not suffer from that whatsoever. The shifter is very smooth whenever you actuate it. So that is a very surprising thing to me. Now we are at true highway speed at about 65 miles an hour in 6th gear. So we're in top gear and everything, and we're right around 4,500 RPM. This engine has a red line right near 11,800. So that is an insane amount of ability to keep on keeping on. I'll put it that way. So this bike is going to have a very, very high top end speed. And I can tell you it feels every bit of it. Like I said, I got the highway speed in second gear. Technically, I believe I could have reached that in first gear as well, because this bike truly does come alive, especially after the 6,000 RPM mark. Once it gets above that, this thing is absolutely a mountain of power. It just keeps on pulling all the way to the red line, and it is phenomenal. Now, in terms of the seating position, again, Rabbit Hedgehog is 6 foot tall, 32-inch inseam, longer trunk, shorter arms, really weird setup. Good news is I am now around 195 pounds. So, a little bit smaller than I used to be, so a little bit easier to handle things, I guess. But when it comes down to it, the seating position is a very well-known standard position. So my feet come back to where my hip is basically. My shoulders are more in line between my knee and my hip. And then I lean forward a little bit so my arms come straight down. My elbows have a little bend to them to the bar. And then my back, like I said, is a little bit more forward. And the pegs are nicely placed, even for a person with large feet like mine. I have enough room around the pedal box to do everything I need to do, to brake, to shift, to do all that good stuff. And I can actually hold my feet down instead of out to the side. So I actually have enough room between the shifter and the actual peg to drop my foot into that hole and hold it down instead of out. So that is kind of a rarity for me to be able to do that. In terms of the mirror placement, like I said, they're okay where they are. I still see a little bit of my knuckles, but I probably have a little more room to play to make that right. And that's gonna be it. I just need to get that right. But at speed, the engine smooths out and the picture is very clear on them. I see the traffic around me just fine, all is well. In terms of the steering on this motorcycle, it is very light to the touch and very flickable. Of course, here I am in Oklahoma, in the flattest state in the world, and of course I have to deal with that. But to note, this bike likes to change direction very easily. It's very flickable. The chassis is very dynamic. I can tell the traction control has a little bit of fun too, but it is what it is on that. Let me see if I can actually get that a little bit less while we're in motion here. Might as well. There we go. So much less that traction control is now off. All right. Just me, I'm old school. I don't need traction control. I've never needed traction control. I've been thankful for it a couple of times, I guess, but you know, it is what it is. Modern technology is an amazing thing, and it's cool to see where we've come. Oh yeah, that's not doing what it was doing a moment ago. So a moment ago it was cutting some power as I did these back and forths. It was being a little weird about it. It's not doing it now. But the power on this thing is quite astonishing. I mean, I'm in 6th gear, just ripped it up there, and in that instant it was right up there, almost 15 mile an hour faster, and it doesn't take very long to get there, even though we're not in its happiest power band. So it has enough torque in that low end to also propel it to where the horsepower really takes over and allows this bike to truly shine and truly go forth. Now, one thing I will note upon the controls is that you do have an adjustable brake lever, but your clutch lever is not adjustable. It is a fixed perch on that one, so it does not move. The screen here, I will say I am catching some buffeting on the top of my helmet on this one. Probably because I'm a little taller than anticipated, but that's not a big deal. The seat is actually pretty decent. I have enough room to play around with and move around on this motorcycle. And yeah, I would say that if we're going for a little longer ride, then it might get a little bit tiresome, because I could feel a couple of hot spots in just this little time, because it is, after all, a pretty thin seat. So I'm wondering if there's already some folks out there that have made a little bit better, more cushiony seat for this motorcycle, like Corbin or somebody of that nature that has made a good aftermarket seat already for this motorcycle. Now, I don't know if I'm just going that slow or these folks are just going that fast. But I always question sometimes certain motorcycles and the calibration of their speedometer. But I'm gonna say they're going that fast, so I'm gonna be real. Right now our engine temperature is at 183 degrees. I do feel some heat coming off. I am wearing a standard pair of Van Skate High suede style shoes, and I definitely actually feel the heat coming in through those shoes pretty nicely, especially around my ankle area and up to my shin. My toes, like, because they're straight down, are catching some good worries, and they're okay, but I am catching a little bit of heat from the bottom end of that. However, it doesn't go much past the shin. I don't feel anything on my inner thigh or anything like that at this time. My knees are nicely tucked into the motorcycle. That's just a happy place to be. Using the cruise control resume and plus switch to get up to speed, and it gets up to speed quite nicely using that. A smidge of delay when you press it for it to think about what you just told it, and away it goes. In terms of the suspension, it is actually very nicely sprung. Now granted, again, I have not played with the preload. I'm not sure what the original owner has preloaded into this. It may just be the stock. Most people don't mess with it. Most of your stock bikes are set for more of a weight of around 160 pounds or so as the stock, and then you turn it up for there on your preload. But even if it is at that, and even though I'm about 30 or so pounds more than that, it is nicely sprung. I'm going over some nicely broken pavement and concrete over here on I-35. You'll see me hit that on purpose right there. It glides right over it just fine, and it has not unsettled the front end. The handlebars are completely and utterly smooth and not rocking or anything weird. Wonderful, wonderful riding motorcycle right now. Now the quick shift is good for up and down. Like I said, this is probably one of the best quick shifters I have worked with. There is no delay or clunk or anything. It is just snappy. It is really well done. I like the way it works. Both up and down on this is quite phenomenal. Now today, for once in Oklahoma, we really don't have any wind. That is really weird to say. Kind of light and variable today, 5 to 6 miles an hour at most today. But going through on the highway here and being around the semis and the other things that you normally get some buffeting with, I am definitely not feeling anything of worry right now. Usually you pick up a side blast when you're passing a semi. As you're getting into it, you'll feel a little buffeting and some other things coming off of it. And we are cutting right through without a problem, and none of that is of concern. We do have a rain grooved road here, and it does not trace the rain grooves. It travels really nicely and smoothly and in and out just fine of those grooves. So you don't have to worry about any of that happening. In terms of how this bike feels to the previous GSX-S motorcycles I have ridden, the 750 and the original 1000. Never did the 1000F with the bigger fairing on it. I think it's more refined. Definitely because it's being a GT style motorcycle. It is more refined, it's riding much smoother. I believe the way the throttle is calibrated with the fueling is absolutely magnificent. Of course, in A mode, it is very one-to-one, and I can say that for some people, they may find that snatchy because you can see that little jump as I'm doing that. But that's me intentionally flicking it, and it's that fast to respond. So if you're giving it a nice linear pull of the throttle, it's not snatchy at all. It's there, and that's not a bad thing at all. You just have to be used to more of that performance-orientated style of riding and used to that style of throttle response. So not a bad deal. Now that we've increased to 75 miles an hour for the highway, we have climbed to around 5,100 RPM. So we are still not taxing this 1000cc motorcycle. Again, this is a very stable, very well thought out platform. Everything is nice and readable. Have a pretty bright sunset to my left here. Putting all that light into this, and it's not bothering the screen at all. It's nice and visible, readable, and everything. So, good news there. I think that's pretty funny to switch to night mode from going under that bridge, but that says it's got a pretty sensitive little light there. So, not a bad deal, or light sensor. The ergonomics are nice on this motorcycle. Everything is literally a thumb or finger and really easy to feel. I do like the way this button has kind of a divots between it, and you can actually feel the raised portions where the actual arrows are through your glove. At least this style of summer glove. You can feel the OK in the back switch there. All that is very physical, or physical feeling. It is really nice. They're easy to get to. You don't even have to look at it. You actually know what you're doing without even looking down. That's a really good hallmark. I like controls that are like that. I don't like them sitting on top of the switch cube and doing weird things where you have to, kind of move and rock your hands into different positions that you're not used to. This does not take away from the riding experience at all. Very nice, usable control surfaces on that. Very well done, Suzuki. Now, like and most motorcycles with cruise control, like my Springfield and Moto Guzzis and all them, if you rock forward on the throttle, the cruise control will indeed cancel, along with pulling in the clutch, pulling in a brake, or pressing the brake as well. All of that cancels the cruise control, and of course just hitting the button to shut it off. Good. Again, real tactile environment, very engaging. I like how the motorcycle is. It's so smooth that it is soulless. This bike has plenty of soul. It's definitely a very rowdy machine if you let it be. But it doesn't mind riding nice and steady either. Now again, here we are, probably getting closer to the 20-minute mark or so in this ride. And like I said, the seat hot spot is definitely there. I would prefer a little bit more cushion for sure, for the kind of bike that this is, since this is a sport touring bike. I have been on some very comfortable sport touring bikes. The Kawasaki Concourse, for instance, is a very comfortable place to be as a sport touring motorcycle. That would be a very good kind of similarity in terms of the seating position and everything that I could kind of think of right now. but also that was a much more comfortable seating arrangement for that motorcycle for sure. A little bit more cushion. They knew you're going to ride that one and crush some miles on. The FJR from Yamaha also, I would say, has a much better seat. Suzuki's own Bandit that essentially this bike replaces would also be a solid kind of sport tour naked style motorcycle like this that I think has a little bit better cushion and seating. This one, I feel like they wanted it to be a little bit more sporting, give it that GT name, that Grand Touring name, you know, but I would say a little less aggressive and a little bit more cushion would not hurt this bike at all. Because such an overall just very linear powertrain, easy to use controls, really nice light clutch, like I said, a little bit fast on the draw as a 2 and all that good stuff, but other than that, it really does a great job. Go ahead and step down on that, get it into 5th gear. The engine braking or compression braking is very nice on this motorcycle. The downshift, like I said, very crisp on the downshifter, and it goes right into that engine braking without any stutter or feel of lockup or anything weird. It just clicks in, no hesitation. Go all the way down to 1, and look how much engine braking we've got here. And now we're on our main brakes for a full slowdown. The Brembo brakes and the rear brakes are very nice on this motorcycle. I have to say that they're very they're very easy to modulate on this motorcycle. You can really feel the bite and know exactly how much you need to put into it. And you have quite a ceiling before you reach the ABS module getting in there and saying hello. So you can hit threshold braking on this motorcycle with a very confident feel. You don't have any pulsing in the lever or the brake pedal or anything like that. And it is just such a linear and wonderful bite to both the brakes. Both of them are very nice, front and rear. Sometimes, and I get that rear brakes are not the most priority, but just because they do 30% of your braking power versus the front, or 25% even, depending on the bike, I would prefer if the brakes still had a nice feel to them and they're easy to modulate and you know what they're biting. Because there are times where I'll be on a motorcycle that it feels like the rear brakes are very wooden. Even sitting on a hill like this, it feels like the bike is slowly slipping through the brakes because you just don't feel any positive feedback from that rear brake, and you don't have enough on it to hold the bike. Stuff of that nature, this bike does not have that. Fan kicked on at 221 degrees. Trying to feel to see if any heat changes from where I felt it before with the fan on, and it feels like it is not changing at all. It's still in the same locations. So I'm going to say they have the heat really well dissipated, except for right at your feet. You do get a pretty decent amount of crisping going on down there. Now, I don't know what the seat height is 100%. Like I said, I'll post all the details and pertinence down below. But when it comes to one-footing this motorcycle at a stop, and even both feet down, I have a slight bend to my knee and flat feet on the ground. And these are very flat vans, so there's no heels or anything to add to my leg length. It just literally goes down to the ground, slight bend, nice and flat, both sides of the motorcycle. Really nice. I don't know why I use the clutch. I think that's just my habit. There's that quick shifter back, and like I said, it is absolutely a wonderful quick shifter to use. And again, there's enough torque in the low end that it is very happy to short shift and kind of keep it in economy, and it is happy to do so. Coming up to a stop and just kind of keeping it balanced and in the friction zone. This motorcycle is very easy to keep balanced, even on this awful road here. I don't know if you guys can see how uneven that asphalt is, but it is highly uneven, so it's very easy to balance through there. Do a nice slow speed maneuvers as well. Really nice quick run through the gears there. Again, for the first time ever, I actually like using a quick shifter. And it is just happy. I mean, it is a very happy motorcycle right now. It just wants to glide smoothly even on the broken roads, and power is everywhere on this motorcycle, which is really nice. So it's happy in the city streets area, it's happy on the highway. So I can understand why I call it a Grand Tour. It's got great suspension, great visibility, solid ergonomics. The only thing that's really a pain is the seat. Quite literally, that's the only thing I'm going to give a C to, because I mean, it is average at best, maybe even a D, slightly below average on the seat. But that quick shifter, A freaking plus. The braking, A freaking plus. The visibility on the TFT screen, A plus as well. Technology on this motorcycle is just enough, you know. It has traction control, it has power modes, it's got quick shifter, trip computer, all the good stuff that you're looking for on a modern motorcycle. And a fairly reasonably priced package too. This particular one was traded in with a little over 3,000 miles on it. Let me see if I can get that real quick, what exactly that is. It's currently at 3,699. So it didn't have too much riding in its life. But to be honest, the person who traded it in kind of admitted that they would get in trouble with it because it is ridiculously fast and ridiculously fun. I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree with that sentiment one bit. It just rockets right up to speed. I mean, this thing is ridiculously powerful. So much on tap, so much power. But it's tameable. It's not absolutely so crazy that you don't want to ride it because it's terrifying. Oh no, it's absolutely a tameable motorcycle. The power is very easy to modulate on it. Sounds really nice. I love the sound of the 4-cylinder from Suzuki. It doesn't have quite the gravelly sound of the crossplane from the Yamaha, but it has its own unique sound to it. And this is running nice and stock, so it is not modified in any way. Kind of hop off here while it's running. That way you can see the lights and everything. So one-sided light, little eyebrows on it until you turn the brights on, then you got both on board. See if you can hear this. Not bad sounding, like I said. Stock, yeah, some people call that quiet and all that good stuff, but yeah, this here, that needs some work on it. I can see the passenger's probably going to want some work too, because that's kind of an interesting design choice there, because it doesn't really give you support and it doesn't really give them anything to just fall into you kind of thing. So it's kind of a weird design choice, but other than that, fix that and you literally got yourself a really, really solid sport tourer. Good runner, Very, like I said, very approachable, tameable power, and absolutely a blast to ride. So at any rate, this is the Rabid Hedgehog, and if you have any questions about the 2022 Suzuki GSX-S GT Plus, please let me know in the comments below. I'll put information about this motorcycle, since it is for sale right now at Indian Motorcycle of Oklahoma City, and that way, if you do, or if you have any comments, I can reach out to you as well if you're interested in purchasing this bike, as long as it is available. I recommend snatching it up as quick as you can, because in seriousness, it's a pretty solid motorcycle. Only one little, looks like something fell on it kind of thing, but other than that, really clean motorcycle, well taken care of. At any rate, folks, keep that shiny side up, and we'll catch you on the next ride.